Welcome back, everybody. It's what you've all been asking for everybody that went to Steve and went to me at the World Speeding Shooting Championships and said, hey, when are you going to do another podcast? We're back with another episode of the Steel Target Paint Podcast. I'm Jeff Jones, and with me is my best friend and shooting partner and podcast co-host, Mr. Steve Foster. Steve, how you doing?
Good, Jeff. How are you doing today?
Oh man, I am recovered from my drive back. It was tough. It was tough this time. It just felt very long compared to other times I've driven back. It's about 9 hours, and you lose an hour in the time change, and it just felt like 57.
Yeah, that whole hour thing will creep up on you if you're not watching out for it.
Oh,
how long were you at the World Speed Shoot? Because I was just there. We had the team dinner Friday night and then Saturday and Sunday.
So I rolled up to Dad's on Wednesday night and then left there Thursday morning and rolled in. Actually got there in enough time on Thursday to add a gun for Thursday afternoon. And there's always the one or two slots that open up based on people having to cancel or whatever. And so I was like, yeah, I'll take it. Here's my credit card. And I got in the match and shot Thursday afternoon, and then got a good night's sleep and shot Friday, Rimfire pistol open, and then shot every session on Saturday and Sunday. So I think I was up there, 4 days, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then drove home Monday. Sorry about that, people. It's probably a spam call.
So your car warranty's expired as well, Jeff?
Yeah, and I think they're trying to get me to buy solar, and I signed up for that do not call list, and I think I get more calls now that I signed up for it. I think it's a farm list for people to call.
Sucker.
Oh, it's terrible.
Hey, I know we're going to talk about the World Speed Shoot. Let me open with this. The weirdest thing happened to us on Saturday afternoon. So I shot Saturday afternoon, Sunday afternoon.
Well, you know what?
Saturday
let's focus the whole thing on weird stuff that happened at the World Speed Shooting Championship, because I got a bunch. So go for it.
Okay, I'm going first. So there was 50% chance of rain. It was like 80, 82 degrees, and that kind of jazz. And so I'm like, okay, got my range tactical gear card out with my umbrella and protect me from the sun and the rain. But it seemed like it came out of nowhere. It was a bright blue sky, and then it just got dark, and the trees were bending over from the wind, and yeah, poor Adam went flying from the video. If you follow me on social media, you'll know what I'm talking about. But the weirdest thing happened. Literally, the sky parted, and the rain and everything went around the range, and then you could see the clouds converge back together. It was the weirdest thing I've ever seen in my entire life.
Really?
Yep.
That's crazy. Well, when all that happened, so the first, well, not necessarily weird, but just, thing that happened is I happened to be on Showdown when that all came in, and, it felt like a small tornado at times was blowing around, and they had not secured down the canopies.
Oh, geez.
So they started to go flying. So, I think that stage at the time, it was Elliot and Annette Eisen, and I remember George being there, and I was sitting there, and we all just kind of jumped up and grabbed something.
Yeah. Yep.
And on Sunday morning, it was funny because it looked, those like giant comical anvils that, you see in cartoons that they used to hit like they had two of those holding it down. It was hilarious.
Oh my goodness.
But so here's the crazy thing that happened to me during that time. So I started out the day wearing my rubies. It was beautifully bright. They were great. And, by, I guess that was probably what, maybe 4 p.m. when that whole stuff hit. And so, when the clouds come in and you don't have direct sunlight, as great as the rubies are, they're not really a good lens for using in that kind of light. And I think Brian would agree. They're just not meant for low light. So luckily, Jeff Barrett was on the next stage. He had his cart. And I said, hey, Jeff, is Chris shot? Yeah, he's shot. I said, can you do me a favor? Can you run me down to my van? I need to change out my glasses. He's like, sure, no problem. Hop in. You know what's coming. You know what's coming. I do. We roll out there and he stops and I'm walking up the van and I'm going, what is going on with my van? There's this white thing on the window. And I walk up and I read it and I could not stop laughing. It was the funniest thing ever. And for those that were there and saw it, you know what I'm talking about. For those that weren't there, on my window of my van was a bumper sticker that said, hey, Jeff, do you know Steve has a home range? And it was, nothing but hilarity came out of I just could not stop laughing. I almost peed my pants laughing. It was hilarious. Jeff Barrett is just like, oh my God, that is the funniest thing ever. And, for those that didn't know, I explained, what it all meant. And then it was just as funny to them getting in on the joke. Yeah. So that was Friday, I think, right? Wasn't that Friday? Yeah, that was Friday.
No.
Was that Saturday? No, that was Saturday. It was Saturday because
it was Saturday.
Yep. Because Saturday night.
So my side.
Go ahead.
So my side of it was I'm trying to shoot, and I'm not going to mention who it is. Maybe you will.
Oh, I know who it is, and I've got a great story behind that too. So,
I'm trying to shoot, and he's in our row. He's like, "Hey, Steve, check this out." I'm like, "All right, man, I'm going to shoot. What you got?" He pulls it out. I couldn't. I lost it, Jeff. I mean, we got pocket knives out, trying to get them. Get them out of the package, and I'm like, that's one of the coolest things I've ever
my God.
Yes, I do have one.
Yeah. Well, so now they have the member meeting on Saturday night.
Yep.
So I'm sitting there at the member meeting, and my good friend, John Burtis, sits down next to me, and we're just shooting the bull. And I'm like, hey, did you see this? And I bring up the picture on Facebook. He goes, see it? I made it. And we laughed, and well, here's the thing. He actually probably saved the people in that meeting a little bit, because I was going to stand up and go, hi, my name is Jeff Jones. Thank you for having the member meeting. And before I ask my question, I'd like to direct a question to the members. Does anyone know who put this on my van? Luckily, I didn't have to do that. So it was, that was, I made a post about it, and it's absolutely true. I mean, outside of the championships that I won in senior, that was the next best part of the match. It was, it's just amazing. That whole joke has taken on a brand. I mean, Paul Larson comes up and he goes like, hey, Jeff, Paul Larson. I'm like, oh, really? I know who you are. He's like, you have the dirt with you? I said, yeah, it's in the van. It's
too funny.
Yeah, it's definitely so. So we had the World Speed Shooting Championships, and at Jeff's expense, we had some fun. So that's good. Of course, I should talk. I walked around with a hat hair all weekend. So
I saw some pictures. I didn't see that in person, but I saw some pictures. So that's good.
You know, we had some. I had some fun with it. Had some fun with Steve, Sci-Fi Cowboy, and you know, because he does have natural long flowing hair. So I asked him. I said, "Would you take that down and kind of have it, you know, under your hat and take a picture?" He was like, "Oh, absolutely." So that was that picture. And then Saturday morning, I just wanted to have some fun with the ROs. So I put the hat on and I walked to every bay and I went, okay, dudes, like, I just want to let you know the energy on this stage is like amazing. Like the shooters just can't wait to get to this stage and shoot. The commands are perfect. You're doing a great job. Just keep up the good work. And everybody kind of looked at me and then got the joke and just couldn't stop laughing.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah.
Here, let me tell you, and I know Paul's a listener. Can I tell you another story about Paul Larson?
I need dirt. If it's dirt, please give it to me.
Well, actually, I think it was Thursday or Friday on his social media, and he said something along the lines of, you know, heading to the World Speed Shoot, and he showed a picture of the vial when him and Jenna were here training at my house from one of the berms. So I thought that was awesome. But that's not the funny part of the story. So I put a post out there. So I've got, you know, a JP5, if you haven't heard.
Oh, I shot it. We can talk about that too, but keep going.
Oh yeah. So I'm getting there. So I put out a post there. So there's different locking pieces. So what from a technical perspective, and we can talk about the JP post that came out today. But anyway, they ship them, or they ship the pre-production ones. I think there was like 10 of them out there, and then I think they've probably added a couple more. But they come with a 90 locking piece. So the bolt is a 2-piece bolt that comes apart, and there's a locking piece that goes in between the bolt where you kind of, you know, twist it at like a 45-degree angle and it comes out. The purpose of this locking piece is when when the firing pin hits the cartridge, it creates back pressure, and it compresses that bolt. And what it does is it pushes the 2 rollers on the side of the bolt out into the receiver. And what happens is this locking piece has an angle to it, and there's different angles. So they start at 90, and I think they go down to maybe 60, maybe even 50. I've actually got an 80 and a 70. But what happens is the 90 is meant to run pretty much any ammo. I think I tested it down to like 75 power factor, and it just runs, right? So last year when I was at the World Speed Shoot doing a demo, there was 5 different locking pieces, and so I put in different locking pieces to match my PNR ammo, my 135 grain. So,
by the way, you sure it's 135? Because I thought it was like 22 long rifle when I shot your gun.
I know, right? It's crazy. So anyway, make a long story short, I ended up taking apart the gun here and painted it blue, and came out pretty nice. And you know, I put a couple posts out there, be at the World Speed Shoot, you know, maybe a little demo action. But anyway, I put in my post, hey, this thing with this locking piece. So I put a 70 in it, so it causes a little bit more delay in the blowback as the numbers go down. So there's more resistance, if you will.
That was going to be my question. Is it
it
a resistance thing, or is it more of a timing thing?
I think it's kind of both, because what happens is the different angles as they hit the rollers keep it in battery longer, if you will. It's actually slightly out of battery, but those angles hit the rollers differently. So the 90 doesn't put as much pressure on it, so it's easier to move the bolt back, with the rollers on the side. And so as you go lower, the more resistance there is when the cartridge is detonated as it pushes back. So it's the rollers hitting this locking piece. So I got an 80 and a 70. I told them I wanted a 70, and, they only had one. And I said, well, give me that one. They said, no, we can't do that. And I said, you sure? And so they ended up sending me a 70 and 80. The 80 still, I'm looking at over here on my bench right now. The 70's in the gun, because I knew what to expect. So I took it I took it to the range and shot it and put some social media content out there like, hey, this thing's as soft as a 22, blah, blah, blah. And the skeptical person he is, back to Paul goes, Steve, he doesn't curse, but I do. He's like, this is
BS.
nonsense. There's no way in heck that, well, people say it shoots like a 22 all the time. That's what Paul, look, at the end of the day, is it a 22? But it's pretty dang close. And so, so on Sunday, because I shot in the afternoon both days. I think, it was Sunday. He came down, and I called him, because a couple of people had shot it. I think you may have shot it.
I did, yep.
Yep. We'll get to that here in a second. And so I called Paul. I said, Paul, where are you at? Where's Jenna at? And he's like, oh, I'll be right there, Steve. Don't you worry. All kind of like, this ain't happening. And so I told him, I think 8 times. I counted 8. I said, Paul, look at me. Look at my eyes. This is how much this gun is. I said, you pull the trigger on this gun, you are going to buy one. He's like, Steve, it's not, I'm really skeptical that it's good. I said, no, you don't understand, Paul. And Jenna's right there. I said, Jenna, talk some sense to him because your mom's not around. If he pulls the trigger on it, he's going to buy a gun. And he's like, Steve, just give me the gun. He pulls the trigger, and I think that's the first time I heard him swear. No, I'm just kidding. I don't think he swore, but he's like, he looked at me like, you, and I'm not going to give other names, but I have multiple people that are sponsored by other companies, and I didn't put them on video because I'm respectful like that said there's no way that it's as soft as what I'm shooting. I put it in their hands, and I literally, Jeff, I almost had to call security. I thought someone was going to take that gun from me.
I was gonna. If you turned your
bad.
head.
It was pretty bad.
No.
But I did allow people to shoot the 135 and some people shoot the 100 grain PNR ammo. It's actually the Steve Foster special. It's about 1150 feet per second. So they're right about 115 power factor, but the 115 was really designed for carry optics, single stack, limited minor, that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a great round, but it's a little bit too snappy in like a GMR 15. So that's why there's 135 grain. But now with the 70 lockup piece, the 135 grain and the 100 grain, they're pretty much interchangeable. So, but still slightly prefer the 135. I'll stop rambling. What did you think about shooting that JP?
Well, I had a preconceived notion on what I was going to feel because I was fortunate enough to shoot what I believe is probably the first one off the line.
Yep.
Down at the Hansen match a couple of weeks ago. John Paul was at the match.
Right.
He lives down there, and so I just grabbed some of my ammo. Or did I grab? No, I think he said just grab my. I don't know what it was, but anyways, we were on Smoke and Hope, and I was blown away. And it was so just the opportunity to shoot yours. I didn't even need a reaffirmation of what the gun was like. I just wanted to shoot it again because it's fun, and it's almost a detriment the first time you shoot it because you're expecting it to be more than it is. And then you're like, wait a minute, what just happened?
Yeah.
Does that make sense? It's like you're expecting this PCC and, it's like, wait a minute, this is it for anybody out there. And I know Steve is the type of guy, after a match, if he's got the opportunity to grab a bay, take the opportunity to shoot this gun, even if it's just 5 shots. It is truly a game changer. I didn't believe it.
Yeah.
I believe it's more so a game changer than, say, the improvements of the GMR 15 from the standard to the lightweight they put.
Yeah, I would agree. I think shooting the 13, then the 15, going from the 16-inch barrel even to the 14.5 inch, and then the ultra lightweight barrel, those were pretty big changes. But this recoil impulse, somebody asked me, how much does a gun weigh? I think it's right about 5 pounds without the optic. And it's 14, right now they're only making the 14.5 inch pinned and welded barrels. Word on the street is, and it's just a rumor, so I'm going to get the first ultra lightweight when they come out. But I look forward to trying that. But even I still like the balance of the gun, so it's not because the barrel's 10 pounds like I'm making that up, but the original 16-inch barrel before they went to a light contour was pretty heavy, and that helped mitigate recoil. No, it's this whole roller delayed blowback operating system that's it really is a game changer. I mean, it's sometimes I hesitate to let people shoot it. Like Trenton was over there. He was like, "Hey, what's going on?" I'm like, "Hey," and he's sponsored by JP. I said, "Hey, you want to shoot?" He's like, "Heck yeah!" Oh no. And I posted this video, just instant reaction. He's like, "Oh my god, oh my god." Yeah. It's just it's yeah.
It's like I said,
big evolution.
The claims you hear, we're saying it on this, you've said it before, it feels like a 22 is so unbelievable until you shoot it.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're like, it does. I mean, it is just amazing. And so like I said, if you see Steve, if you come down to Florida to shoot at Hanson, I know John Paul would be more than happy to let you try the gun. And once you try it, it's time to put the house in hock and figure out how you're going to pay for one.
It's about $3,300. Send it to me for an extra few $100, and we'll make it pretty. And
it's just amazing. So let's see what other weirdness happened I saw one of the great strings. In fact, I did it myself after realizing it wasn't worth going back. Outer Limits. I'm shooting with Kenny day one, and it really doesn't matter what gun he was shooting, but he I don't know if it was his first string or his last string, but it was funny because he has some interesting mannerisms. I saw somebody repost the Smoke and Hope run from last year.
Epic.
And this was Outer Limits this year, and he gets up there, and it's hit, miss, and he was in the center box already.
Yeah.
And he realizes he's missed that plate. And then he realizes he's been spending a while contemplating that he missed that plate. And he just cranks one off at the stop plate. It's like it's not worth going on.
That's never happened to me before.
So I'm shooting I don't even remember what gun. It might have been my rimfire pistol. I was lucky enough to shoot on the Super Squad, but I did the same thing. Outer Limits, hit the first plate straight on, just missed the back plate. I wasn't in the center box quite as fast as Kenny gets there, but I was there, and I did the same thing. I went, I missed that. It's not worth going back. It's not worth continuing. So I just cranked one off at the stop plate. And I think Russell was the RO, and he's like, the time, and he says, and I thought he said and two. He probably said and three, but I thought he said and two. So he's like, 375 and two. And I chimed out, that was and three. I'm taking my misses. If I'm going to take my misses, I'm going to take them hard. So, but yeah, it was, I tell you, for anyone who's never been to the World Speed Shooting Championships, especially if you live in the Southeast, next year is the last year currently having it scheduled in Alabama. Make the effort and get there. It's worth the experience to see, to shoot in that match. Vendor area was a little light this year. hoping that's going to change in the future again. I mean, last year there was a lot. I'm not sure what happened this year, but stuff happens. But it's just a different experience compared to most matches you've ever been to, and I highly recommend it. And if you went to the member meeting, while the policy is not finalized yet, just like the USPSA has, Steel Challenge for sign up for the 2023 World Speed Shooting Championships is going to have a slot policy.
Ooh, tell me more.
So again, the details are still being worked out. But in effect, if you won a division, if you won a class where there was at least 10 people in it, or if you won a category where there was at least 5 people in it, you have earned at this match, you have earned a pre-registration slot for the 2023 WSSC.
So just one slot?
One slot. So I was fortunate enough this year. I won senior in RFPO and PCCI. I have 2 pre-registration slots right now because it's different guns. Now, everybody's sitting there going, oh man, but I didn't get to go. You know, I would have gone if I could have known it was a slot. Well, guess what? You still got a chance because every area match is going to have a similar slot policy. It may or may not be the same as what's at the World Speed Shooting Championships, but it's going to be something where you're going to be able to earn slots when you shoot your area match. So Steve, we're in area 6. So when we shoot the area 6 match, based on the policy that they come up with, which is probably going to be very close to, don't hold me to this, people, but it's probably going to be very close to what it is, which is, you know, if there's 10 in the division winner is going to win a slot. If you're in a class, if there's 10 in that class for that division you're in, you're going to win, you're going to earn a slot. And if there's 5 in the category, you're going to earn a slot, but you can only earn them in your area. There's nothing stopping you from going to shoot area 5, but you can't earn an area 5 slot if you don't live in area 5. So, which is good because it's, you know, you can still help contribute to the number of people in the division, class, or category. But you can't win one.
Yep.
So they're still working that all out. Keep an eye out for, you know, information. I'm not sure whether it'll come in, you know, front site or whether it'll be in the downrange email or if it'll be on the website. But I know that now that the World Speed Shooting Championships is done, they're going to start developing what that slot policy is going to be. And it's pretty cool because, you know, we all, for those of us that were lucky, I was one of the fortunate ones and got a 502 coin. Do you know what that is, Steve?
Yeah, I made the original one, Jeff.
I know, but Palmetto State Armory made 100 502 coins. And Zach did a random number generator on the competitors, and I was fortunate enough. And it was just kind of a tongue-in-cheek thing to alleviate some of the issues that we all went through in trying to sign up this past year. Probably one of the other big things that came out of the member meeting is that the USPSA and the Steel Challenge Shooting Association are looking to be the host of the registration. So that could change the game as well. And hopefully, even if, there was 712 shooters or guns at this match that were registered, not all of them at the very beginning, but, a lot of people signed up early, and the slot policy is going to help alleviate some of that stress. And, their hope is that they're going to be able to put together a straightforward process to be able to alleviate further sign up issues and make it a stress-free environment. So definitely looking forward to that and hoping that's the case, because 2 years in a row and what we went through is painful.
Yeah, it's been pretty rough. 1 year is bad, 2 years is bad enough, and feels like it's been 3 or 4. Just saying, man. Just saying.
So how many guns did you end up shooting, Steve? I know it's, for everybody that, looked at Steve or I and went, hey, we can't wait to hear another podcast. Steve has been, a one-armed paper hanger is lucky compared to what Steve's been going through in the hours that he's been putting in. And so, we're actually recording this late at night on a Wednesday night, because I'm not sure about you, Steve, but having a lot of people come to us or come to me and say, hey, when's the next podcast? It meant a lot to me, because it meant people cared and wanted to listen to, two goofballs talk about shooting and just having a good time. And so that's, I went to Steve, and if I'm not mistaken, when I said, hey, can we get a podcast recorded next week? You looked at me and you went, hell yeah. You were ready to go. Right. So that said to me, we've got to, even if we got to do them late at night, we got to make them happen, because we got to keep these people happy and off our backs. And you know who you are.
Sure. That's right. That's right. The other cool thing about the match and all that kind of stuff is there was over 700 guns, right? I mean,
yes,
probably the largest. Is it the largest world speed shoot ever?
It is. It is. And it eclipsed the other one by quite a bit. The previous biggest one was in 2018, which happened to be the first year it was at the CMP. And that was 638 guns. The next 2 years were, quote unquote, COVID years. And they were still over 600, but they didn't break that 638. And then this year we come in and break the record with 712.
Crazy.
That, do the math. That's over 10% bigger than the biggest match. That's huge.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, it's 3 seconds on personal life, maybe 10 seconds of personal life. Yeah, 3 months ago I took a new job, and it's been interesting. They brought me in because the team there needed somebody like me, and hasn't been the prettiest thing, just because when you walk into situations, which I've done many times, where things are not performing where they need to be, to say that it's there's some abrupt things that need to happen, and the not so nice guy has to come out and those kind of things. But it's been a lot of work. So unfortunately, the podcast hasn't cut the list in the last couple of months. But I'm glad to be back at it, Jeff, for sure. And haven't shot a ton in the last 3 months. I've done some training, but between work and Creekside Custom, it's consumed more of my time than and taking a little trip here with the kiddos and all that kind of stuff. It's been busy. So, but this past weekend was great to see. It was interesting. I think that there was a ton of familiar faces, but I'll also say there's a lot of people that I think were first timers at the World Speed Shoot, which was really cool to see as well. And there's some folks that I expected to see that I didn't see as well.
I want to point out for all you first timers that, are able to walk up to Steve and I, or, I'm not sure about Steve, but walk up to me and read my jersey and say, "Hey, Jeff, you have to wear a name tag so I can remember your name." Okay. It's not fair.
I got a couple of those too.
I met a bunch. I met two great guys, John and Alex from Pennsylvania. I forget their last names, but they were staying in the cabins with me. And, I got to shoot with John on one of the squads. And, it was funny because I'm unloading my van and they're out in front of their cabin just hanging out. And John had a Harley shirt on. And I just said, "Hey, you ride a Harley. What do you ride?" He's like, I forget what he said, but I said, "Oh, I had a 15 limited." I said, "What are you here for?" And they said, "Oh, we're here for the World Speed Shoot." I'm like, "Oh, me too." And they're like, yeah, you're Jeff Jones." I'm like, "That's not fair. You know who I am." So yeah, we had some good talks, and that was just nice. And yeah. I mean, I can go down the line of, people that have been in the game, but I finally got to meet for the first time. Kylie Wells, that's you. And just a whole bunch of other people, and seeing people that I've seen for years.
Absolutely.
Getting to see teammates, Kurt and Maria and Nate and Becky and just, yourself, and it's just, we could spend a whole podcast just trying to read off the names of the people that we met and remembered, and just know that, for each and every one of you, men, women, children out there that said hi, and I appreciate it. I appreciate it. It's, I've always said, this is a game. This isn't a job. And this should be fun. And I try to bring that, when it's time to shoot, I'm serious and I want to do well, and we all do. But, in between, you're going to find me with, the hat hair on, or cracking a joke, or just having fun. It's just, it's just what I do. So what did you see? I don't know. Go ahead, Steve. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I brought Vanessa with me, and she wanted to go because there's a lot of us older folks that are there, but it's always a humbling experience to see all the young shooters, all the folks from, all over the country, folks from Texas and Kansas and Missouri and California, it's just Maryland. It's awesome to see all the younger people there. It's really cool, because that's just hopefully to be a role model and be an example to some of these younger folks and help them out. There's somebody that I had a conversation with last night. We were talking about equipment, and they were looking to make an investment in a gun. And hey, look, I'm a shooter, and I spend my money, my hard-earned money, and let me walk you through the history of shooting a Browning Buckmark to
I remember that.
CWA.
I remember
here's
those
the pros and cons, and it's but it's cool. One of Vanessa's close friends, Alora, she's from Texas. They spent most of the weekend together. It's just it's just really cool to reconnect with the shooting family after a certain period of time. It's I tell people all the time, it's even at the World Speed Shoot, it's more like a family reunion that happens to be a little bit of shooting. And that's the part I enjoy. So it was a good time.
Well, and it's cool too. I mean, for you, there's probably a lot of local shooters that end up being there. They're a little closer, and you do get over to Alabama to shoot. For me, there were some Florida shooters. I mean, Tom Nalen, Vince Taparowski. I mean, they're kind of staples at the match now. They're not going to miss it. And Vince is in his 80th year.
Unbelievable.
And he's out there, and he's not taking the penalty in outer limits.
Yep.
And he just got like 2 new knees a couple of years ago.
Oh yeah.
And he's out there. And then I've got some friends from the Hanson range, Peter Parfenick, who actually I think got second place in senior RFRO. So congratulations to him. And, guys from my club, Bob MacGyver, guys from Hernando, Bill Mitchell, Dick Hudson, just these are just name a few people. But then you sit there and you go, okay, now I get to see Steve. Oh, there's Chris Barrett, another teammate. And then there's Colby, and there's Cole Bush. And, I love the Bush family. They're just super people and fun to be around. And, it's to see Cole, and you notice he shot the entire weekend in his cowboy boots.
Unbelievable. It's 83 degrees out. And he's wearing jeans, and he's like cowboy boots. I'm like, that's not even fair. So he's got legs that are like 5 feet tall. Mine are like,
he's all legs.
My torso is like of a 6'1", and my lower torso or my legs are like somebody that's like 4'9". You know what I mean? So it's not fair. It's not fair.
So let's see. I got my butt kicked by Cole. I let him know about it too. For those that are on Facebook, you may have seen the photo bomb or video bomb I did, expressing my heartfelt gratitude to Cole Bush's shooting. But then, I got to meet Carly Chadwick, who is like, is she even 4 foot tall? I mean, she's a tiny little thing.
She's actually grown a couple inches since last
Okay. Well, I got to meet her and her family, and that was fun. And, and then you just go down the line, and there's certain memories like, okay, I was fortunate enough to be the MC at the awards. And, my feeling is have some fun with that. So I wanted to make sure that everybody who got called up, it wasn't just their name. I was, trying to have some fun with it. And I hope everybody enjoyed it. But I have to relate this story. The organization has created some new category awards. Okay. And what they've done is they've taken the lady category and applied it to the age-based categories. So there is now lady preteen, lady junior, lady senior, and lady super senior. Now, you still have to follow the same rules for category awards. There has to be at least 5 competitors in that. In this case, let's just say lady senior for PCCO. And we announced that Diane McCoy won that award. And I have never seen a bigger smile on anybody's face than to see her walk up and get that award. And that in of itself said to me, that was one of the best changes they could have made at the awards, to open up that type of, new category award, to recognize more people. Again, well within the rules. And I thought it was great. And it was pretty special to see Diane walk up there and get that award, because it was a ear to ear smile, and it was pretty cool. And then I got tired of reading Kenny's name. I mean, I wanted to come up with something else, but I had to keep reading his name because that boy can shoot.
Yeah, he shot the 2 fastest times of the match, right?
Yes, he did.
And I think probably the most impressive is the Rimfire Pistol Open time. That was unbelievable. Broke the previous record by 4 seconds? I mean, that's nuts.
He shot. So number 1 time was a 54.40 in Rimfire Rifle Open. And then he shot earlier in the week, but it held, of course, for the entire match, was a 55.73 in Rimfire Pistol Open.
That's amazing.
I want to say KC ran like a 57 and change last year.
Oh, I thought it was a 59, but you could be right.
I think 2 years ago he might have run a 59. Let me just see if I've got it handy here.
And Lance Bratcher Jr. shot a heck of a match, huh?
Well,
he's been robbed twice with this pistol.
I got to hang out with them a lot, whether we were shooting together or when he was shooting that Rimfire pistol iron. I was on the squad behind, and we were walking up, so I got to talk to Lance Senior, and there's a lot of funny stories behind that. Um, uh, One of the things that happened that weekend is they saw me putting on the grip assist that I use. And Lance asked me for some. I'm like, sure, here's this bottle's almost empty. Just take the bottle. Well, that was, I think he was shooting Rimfire pistol open. He comes up and he goes, that was the best match I've ever shot. And it's all because of that grip stuff you gave me. And I looked him straight in the eye and I said, one, you put in the work, you shot the gun. I said, but I mean, if that took your mind off of it, I couldn't have gotten a better compliment, that I helped him do that. But yeah, with regards to that Rimfire pistol iron, I mean, it's reminiscent of last year in Rimfire Rifle Open, where the world record got set, and then somebody came behind him and broke it again.
Yeah, that's nuts.
So hey, I found it here. Casey's record in from 2021 was a 57-51. So nice. Kenny beat it by what's that? About 1 3/4 seconds, which is
got it. Okay.
We all know it.
The year before he shot a 59.
Yeah. But at that level, 1 3/4 seconds it's like a lifetime.
Oh yeah, that's yeah.
It's crazy. So what do you think? I got the numbers right here. So we'll play a little guessing game. What do you think the biggest division was?
Rimfire Rifle Open.
You are correct. Now, you want to take a guess at how many entries there were?
I looked last week, 147.
Wow. You should be dyslexic because it was 174.
Was it?
Yeah.
Hey, all I know is I landed in the top 20, which I was happy with, which is good.
Yeah. I mean, we've got to take those little wins. It's well, it's funny because I had a chance in PCCO. I had to shoot a personal best on the last stage, which was Showdown. And I didn't do it, and ended up third behind Kirk Grimes was in second, and Robert Halsell was in first. They both shot great matches, and I congratulated Kurt. I don't think I got to see Robert. I don't think he made the award ceremony, but he won both RFRO and PCCO this year. And in senior division, and hats off to him. And, it was just, you unfortunately weren't able to come to the awards because I know you had to get back. But they had it at the racetrack this year.
Yeah. How was
that? For the 4 years that I've been at the World Speed Shooting Championships, where the first one was inside and we were all crammed in, and the next two were outside with moderate lighting. Being in this banquet room at the track was, I thought, amazing. I thought it was a great place to have the awards. There was space where the tables were together but they weren't on top of each other, and you could eat, but there was places where you could move off to the side and talk, and, you could get around. They fed us. They had, I think it was pulled pork and chicken. There was, beans and slaw, and, was it shrimp and steak tips? No, but I didn't expect that. So I thought it was good to have, that they had something there. And I thought it was great. I actually hope that next year they do something very similar, because I thought that room was conducive for the awards.
No, that's awesome. That is awesome.
So what do we say we've been talking here for almost an hour, 45 minutes. What do we want to tease for the next one? You want to get into some of the specific accomplishments that people made? You want to try to get somebody from the World Speed Shooting Championships on the call? What do you think? What do you want to do?
That's a great question. I think that we should definitely talk about the accolades. You know, it's two come to mind. I mean, there's a lot of accolades and very important things that we need to talk about. The one that I thought was truly impressive, and they shot a personal best by like 4 or 5 seconds. That was Jenna Larson. I mean, you know, she run the ladies RFRO with like a 60 something, low 60s, like a 60 point something. I mean, to come to the world speed shoot and drop 4 to 5 seconds off your personal best, and there's some competitors. There's a lot of heat in that. Hats off to Jenna. The other one that I want to mention real quick, and then we can talk more about it later, is
just by the way, it was a 60.82.
That's impressive.
Insane.
I mean, well, and I think her previous personal best was like a 65 or 66. I mean,
that's
is,
that's yes. Kudos, Jenna. Kudos.
Yeah, if you don't know Jenna, she's an absolute sweetheart. She's one of the nicest people you'll ever meet, and she can ball, son. The other one that I'll share with you is Neil Norman. I mean,
yep.
Neil, kind of a long history with Neil. I've known Neil for 5 or 6 years. I don't know if it was necessarily his first match that he ever shot, but it was probably one of his first matches that I squatted with him and his dad, and that was, man, let me see. Let me take a look here. I may have it on my wall. Yeah, I think it was the 2016 World World Rimfire in Alabama. That's when I first met him. I'm looking at a picture on my wall here. But fantastic guy. So he won Rimfire Pistol Iron, I think, 2 years ago, and I think he set a world record and won it again this year. Rimfire Pistol Iron. I mean, It was like 66.
Very good memory.
Seconds, something like that. Yeah.
I'm looking right at it right now. He shot a 66.56
with a Rimfire Pistol Iron gun. That's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know, since we're throwing out we're just throwing out a couple of kudos here. I will tell you one of my if I were to call somebody out for a kudos accomplishment, and it's not because he's a teammate, but because he did it, is Chris Barrett winning PCCI 3 years in a row.
But with a ridiculous time, 57 maybe, somewhere in there.
He shot an 8, I think it was 868.
Outer limits.
Not on, yeah, exactly. On outer limits. We watched him shoot. Zach Jones and I, because I was on the squad behind him, and we rolled up, and Zach was out there sitting in front of the shack, and I sat my butt down, and we watched Chris shoot, and we were blown away. Yeah. Blown away by what he was doing. It just looked effortless. So kudos to Chris, man.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Go ahead. You got one?
Let me talk about. Well, I'm just going to talk about Chris for a minute.
Okay, go for it.
That guy puts in a ton of effort. And what people don't know, and I haven't shared this with many people, but I have seen Chris Barrett shoot a 4-second showdown. No. We're not talking 1 string, Jeff.
Yeah.
We're not talking 2 string. We're talking 4 strings. I've seen him shoot at sub 1 second. Jeez. So it's crazy, man. The kid is super nicest guy you'll ever meet in the world, but stupid fast. So I'm glad that he was able to get at least one. I think he had a couple, 2 or 3 of the 4 guns he shot under 60, which was great. But man, the kid can roll, which is great.
Yeah, I'm smoking hope Do you want to just throw out a number that he shot PCCI and Smoke and Hope? It turned out to be the fastest stage of the weekend for him, for the guns that he shot.
I'm going 5 1/4.
5:15.
Woo! Crazy. I mean, that's like stupid fast. Like,
yeah,
burn it down. That's ridiculous.
Now,
that's ridiculous.
Here, you know what? And it's funny. You start looking at this and you're going, okay, something must have happened here. You know, human side of Chris, you know, his worst stage. And we're not calling him out. We're just having some fun with Chris right now. His worst stage was outer limits with a PCC optic, and it was 1072.
Yeah, and there's a lot of people that are listening. Like, I would do anything to shoot.
I would kill. I would kill. That was literally, now get this, that was out of the 32, he shot 4 guns, 8 stages, 32 stages he shot. That was the only time he was over 10 seconds on any of his times.
Any gun. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It's, I mean, I'm looking at these times, and yeah, Chris, you need to go look at that video I photobombed for Cole, because it counts for you too.
Oh, hey, I know we're looking to wrap it up, and I don't mean this to be controversial, but I'm going to throw it out there anyway, because you're my rules aficionado. So I come to you because I'm not a certified RO.
Okay.
I'm not a card
I will try.
So
I will try.
And I don't mean to spur up a little controversy, but there was I was shooting with somebody on the squad, and there was some discussion amongst ROs after this person shot. Looked to be some level of confusion. We're all kind of like, what happened? Didn't pick up the timer, and then shot 5 more strings. And we're like, what was that? So when this person, I almost said their name, when this person got back there, I said, what happened? They didn't pick up the timer? And they said, well, kind of. And I said, well, what do you mean kind of? So on the first string of fire, and it was the final, the string time was right in line with what he shoots. They didn't capture all 5 shots, so they required him to reshoot the string. Is that a rule, Jeff? I didn't think it was, but that's why I'm asking you.
There is no rule that says you have to capture all 5 shots.
Okay.
But as an RO, what you want to make sure is you capture the last shot. For sure. Okay. So if the RO did not capture all 5 shots and was not able to guarantee that they saw the timer click over on the 5th shot, it is the correct call. Okay. Now, there have been many times, because I do a lot of ROing, both in local matches and some of the other, level 2s, and I have been an RO at the World Speed, where I have seen, I've actually only recorded 3 shots. Okay. And, I'm trying to think of the speed option with a lefty. When you get on their left side, if they're shooting, I mean, this is a very specific situation, but if they tend to be shooting like a bull barrel 22, 10-22, no comp, there's a good chance that you may not pick up. If you're slightly out of wrong position, you're not going to pick up the last 2 shots. But if you pick up the last 3 shots and you know that you saw that timer click over on the last shot, then the time is valid, even though you only got 3. So my guess is that it's not a requirement that all 5 are picked up, but if the RO believes that if the RO can't guarantee that they saw it trip on the 5th shot, then yes, it is in my belief and what I know of the rules, that is the correct call. Because
Okay,
there are no
controversy.
gimmies. There are no gimmies.
Yeah, the tough part about it is, and it's tough if you have ROs that are not used to shooting with fast shooters.
Correct.
Because it definitely was, and I know some of us that have done this for a long time, you can pretty much get pretty close to what somebody's shooting just by standing back there. The only caveat I offer from time to time is really the draw of the first shot. The rest of the tempo, I could judge within 0.05 to 0.15. You know what I mean? So somewhere in there. But what happened in this situation, they had a smoking first run, like strong, had that situation. The next one had a pickup. Next one had two pickups. You know what I mean? It's because you're consciously thinking about what just happened instead of shooting the gun. And so it's definitely a tough one, but
it happens. It's part of the game. You have to be prepared for it. I don't know of anybody who's not have it happen to them.
Yeah.
Maybe a centerfire shooter.
Yep.
Those guns tend to be loud enough. So yeah, for the rimfire and all that, but yeah. Do
all right, well,
wait, Steve. Can I share the Outer Limits stage with you about 5 years ago where this happened? Do you remember what I'm talking about?
Yes.
So since then, you've learned how to manage this kind of situation.
Yep.
And I think we've over the years, you hope to be able to learn that stuff. But, you were, I don't want to say you were early on in your career, but you were 5 years in, maybe 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
yeah, the RO missed it, and you put down a blazing run, and you bit your tongue, but you were ready to give that RO a piece of your mind.
it was probably because I had practiced that stage, and that was at the Georgia match, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
Yeah. At first, I thought it was World Speech. No, it was the Georgia match.
No, it was Georgia.
To say that I had it was rolling. I mean, it was.
No,
really,
at the time. I mean, quite frankly, you look at your time, you look at what you shot back then and what you're shooting now, and you're like, man, how was I ever that slow? But at the time,
but
you
even
were crushing it.
Yeah, even back then, I think I was in that 1050 land, so that's some 350s. I think that first one would have been probably it probably would have been like 3 1/4. I mean, it was, and that would have put me, setting me up. But yeah, that was probably one of the most frustrated that I've been at a match, and it was more the match than anything else. You know what I mean? It was just the level of ROs.
Right.
And that's another podcast by itself.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's. I've been there. I've done it. I've been an RO. And it's, for all of them are out there, and from me who shot the match, thank you. It's when everything goes great, it's like the ROs almost aren't even noticed, and that's okay. And when things go bad, it's not the RO's fault. In most instances, it can be.
Yep.
Hopefully in this situation with this shooter and the RO missing a time, that they, realized maybe they had a quieter gun. Let's face, I mean, like, that's the other thing that I was impressed with this new JP is it's nowhere near as loud.
Yeah. Yep.
And so that's something you need to consider too, when you're shooting it, are your shots getting picked up?
Yeah.
All right. Well, this is a good one.
All right,
so everybody who's been waiting for one, hope you enjoyed it. Steve and I are going to probably do at least one more talking about the world speed, but we're going to try to get one of these out on a much more consistent time frame to keep all you people chomping at the bit for having 2 guys talk about shooting to listen to. So hope you enjoyed this one. And
All right,
Steve,
good talking to you,
how do we,
Jeff. Take
wait,
care.
wait. How do we end every podcast?
Hey, discount code STPodcast10. Get 10% off at rangestore.net.
All right. Well, Steve, I'm looking forward to talking to you again. Have a good night.
All right, see you, man.
Bye.